So now we're removing it the next day. Everything's a little bit sticky, but it's all feeling fine. That's the way it should be. Glad wrap sticking to the in-wall foam. And that looks pretty good, although there's a very strange shape on the starboard side that's going to have to go. First thing to do is to get this battery out, but the shape has formed around it, so in fact it's going to fit in there very snugly a bit later, and that feels really firm, and I'm really happy with that. I've just got to cut that little stalagmite off. That's right, looks a bit strange. And now I'm taking out the motor room cover, because under here also I've put a fair amount of foam, although I'm not sure what it's going to look like. And it's looking pretty good. It's really surrounded the battery, and I'm going to have to remove some of that. Now I'm taking the motor room itself off, and you'll see I've put some tape around the prop shaft, and I've made very quickly a prop housing. That's just to protect the prop against the foam when I put the foam in, and the tape is just to center the prop in the housing, because the foam's going to hold it in place once it's done. So they're all very nice. That's all connected up, and this is now the finished. You haven't seen me put this in, but never mind. I've had the servos in there, the pump, everything, and all been protected with foam. And now, or with glad wrap, I'm putting this lovely plasti dip over all the spots that I've had to cut. And I get a bit happy with this in the end, because I figured I really should cover the whole thing with this plasti dip. It gives a very nice seal, and this is what it's actually for. And I'll give the cut parts a couple of shots. So just quickly running over all of that, you can see I've cut off that ugly bit, and there we go. This is the finished product. So this, I've taken all the lead weights out, so I'm thinking it may not balance like this, but then again, who knows, it might be perfect. So I've got it in the tank now with its new foam, just filling the ballast tank to see what it's like, and the result is seriously heavy. So the answer to this is we need more foam. So I'm covering the central section with cardboard, as you can see. I've covered all of the important parts with bits of aluminium. I'm just going to get into this back part here to put some more foam in. And now the wonders of glad wrap. Going to cover the whole thing with glad wraps. I don't want any of this sticking to any of my components. Oh, it's great stuff, this. It makes life so much easier. And I'm sticking some, it sounds like something rather awful. I'm just sticking some of the in-wall foam into that stern part. You can't really see that. And I'm just going to let that gradually expand. This is all now ready for me to do the saddle tanks. I'm going to make a piece that's going to run on top of the other tanks. And here we are. This is getting ready for the saddle tanks. This is a bit like doing icing or something, or cream on MasterChef, but believe me, this stuff. Now I'm going to put a fair slab of it up here, and it's just going to be shaped by the hull. I've got some cardboard on the inside of the hull that you can just see in front of me there, which is going to make sure it doesn't collide or touch the actual hull itself as it expands. And now just going to do the other saddle tank. I'm not sure how all this is going to turn out, but hopefully it's going to be nice. That looks pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with, oh, touched it. That's just brilliant. It's ugly stuff, this. Got all the doors open because of the fumes. I'm just putting some glad wrap over the top of that, because this is going to be a free sitting little cover here of foam. Now we put Humpty together. Lock it all down. I'm going to screw it all down tightly. And now this is the next morning. It's actually almost a day and a half, I think I left this. Off it comes. That's a good sign. And here are these saddle tanks, and I tell you what, I'm impressed with that. They're really quite solid, although they look a bit Swiss cheesy. But they're nice and solid. They're not. There's nothing spongy in that at all. If there was, I'd probably dig it all out and try it again. But I'm getting better at this now, so that worked pretty well. So let's take these nice. It's just a spacer, really. This cardboard on here. Removing that. Now this is a bit ugly. Right down on the stern, where I put some in next to the stern prop shaft, on the starboard side, it's oozed out like some kind of tumor or something. It's pretty nasty stuff. It's quite firm, but honestly, that can't stay. So I'm going to have to disassemble a few things to be able to get this operable. And this is the cover piece that sits on top of the pumps. That looks ugly, but by the time I trim it down, it'll be okay. No, it's still going to look ugly no matter what I do, but it fits. That's all that matters. Now I'm working on the tumor. And you can see the inside of the foam is pretty good. It's quite firm. I'm quite happy with that. And by the time I've trimmed this back, it'll be all right. But I've got to cover the top of that carefully. Let me just pull a few more bits and bobs out so that I can cut it again. That's it. Excellent. Just trimming it to what I want. And now on with the plasti dip. Now when this dried, this plasti dip, and you can see the side tanks, although that's nice and firm, it's a bit Swiss cheesy. I don't think those holes go right through though. I don't think it's like a sponge at all. So I'm trying it with plasti dip, but in the end I decided that was never going to be enough. So here comes the no more gaps that you use on standard housing. I'm just going to rub this in to fill all the little holes, and then once I've done this, I'll give it another coat of plasti dip over the top of the no more gaps. So there we have it. I'm just going to fill all the Swiss cheesy parts and then give it another coat. Reminds me of painting the house, this stuff. There we go. The wonders of it all.